Today is the 11th of February 2026, and today I have no front teeth. It's the first time ever, perhaps, I've been walking around with no front teeth just for a day. Because yesterday, the famous 10th, was the big dentist day, the day of the implants, and it lived up to its billing. I'm so glad it's over, at least that part, and that was the difficult part. And it's such a load off my mind that it hasn't sank in yet. And I think it is going to be a nice case of it sinking in more and more as time goes by, I hope, because that really was bothering me so much over the last 4 or 5 months. I mean, I've still got Merite, but dare I say it, I'm getting used to the eye injections. I still would like not to have any, or at least not to have them too much. But that dental thing was really... And I had kind of pegged a lot of it right in my mind, you know, bits and pieces. So getting up that morning, going with Flo, was stressful, and then Flo was in a bad humour because she didn't sleep well, and the cat was bothering her, Luna, and then I was bothering her because I woke her up, and she said nobody else seems to be bothered by her heavy breathing. And she said, and also I was taking over all the bed. And then she said, of course, I'm the stupid one. I'm doing all the work, earning the money, and yet I'm going to be sleeping in a tiny little room in the corner. So that took my mind off my teeth for the journey in. And I told her, of course, I didn't really agree with what she was saying, but I said, you are right, you are working, so it definitely is up to you which bed you want to sleep in. I don't mind. Anyway, when we got there, I had my teeth cleaned a little bit, and then we went again. It didn't take place in the room, I thought. There was a special operating theatre upstairs on the next floor in the Manosque dentist's place. So I lay down flat on the dentist table, and then he starts giving me all the anesthetics, which I didn't feel it at all. It wasn't even like an injection, it was just like tiny little pricks that you could hardly feel. Very kind of high-tech technical stuff, and they worked immediately. But then what happened was what I had thought originally, and then wondered if it would be different. He actually started trying to pull out the teeth with some kind of a dental pliers. So straight away, that was, even though I was completely numb, it's a horrible feeling when someone is literally pulling out your teeth. These teeth that they've done me good for many a decade. So that seemed to go on for ages, and at one point I kept thinking, I bet you they've got the one that kept falling out anyway. I bet you that was easy, but I bet you they can't get the other one out. It was going through my mind. They can't get the other one out. What's he going to do if he can't get the tooth out? Suppose he has to pull really hard, and then he pulls a big chunk of my jaw out with the tooth. I said, God. He told me after it wasn't really a case of not being able to get it out, but they were trying to do it very slowly to not damage the bone. So eventually they did that. Then they cleaned out all the stuff, which apparently was lots of infection, lots of abscesses, a pocket of it on both teeth. And that took a long time. That must have taken 40 minutes. Then came the drilling, which I kind of was expecting. I knew something's going to have to be drilled in here. There's two metal rods going in somewhere. And so there was that. And then there was something I didn't expect, which was maybe the worst part. He must have put the rods, the metal implants in, and then he tapped them a few times with a hammer, which obviously wasn't a hammer, but it was a dentist's implement. And that felt so, let's talk about violent, that felt like, oh my God, you shouldn't be doing this. You know, to feel that kind of massive force being banged into your bone. And at that time I was thinking, my God, what am I going to feel like when the anesthetic wears off? With all this stuff going on. Luckily that didn't take too long, but then he had to do the same in the other tooth. And I wanted to pee. I should put that down here, because that's something you're going to forget. I wanted to pee pretty early on, and all the way through this I wanted to pee, and by the end it got uncomfortable. But anyway, after hammering in the things, he had to take a graft from the inside of my right cheek, because they're mixing that with the blood to make some kind of a substance that helps it's like a bone graft, helps the bone grow. And then I guess that they did that, and then they filled out the two areas like putting cement. And then after that, just stitches everywhere. I don't know what all the cutting was for. That's something I didn't quite understand. I could maybe ask, if without getting too bogged down in the language problem. Tuco, this way, allez. Allez. Another dog coming. Anyway, we've walked far enough, I think. So yeah, he had to cut a graft, make a kind of a substance, and then fill up the two cavities with the metal bar with that, I guess. And then when it's over, like I say, it's just, all these stitches everywhere. So I've got one stitch somewhere in the top left of my mouth with some twine coming out. I can feel it. And that was it. It must have taken 2.5 hours to do. But he seemed very pleased with it. I don't know. I know it's expensive to pay, but the job these guys do really is so specialized. Allez, because they're working in such small spaces. I was saying that to him, and he had classical music playing for me the whole time, quite loud. But I'm saying all this, then with me, I don't think, maybe the fact that I wanted to pee, but otherwise I won't forget this, because it's just one of those things I think that will be just kind of engraved in your memory, It was one of those experiences that will always stay with you. And it was pretty tough. I was pleased. The dentist said to me, I like working on people like you. It's a very, very patient, very still. You're very strong, he said. And then he said, it's that typical stiff upper lip Britishness. Everybody thinks I'm British. until I correct them. So that's it. Right now I have no teeth, front teeth. Luckily, I get my temporary teeth tomorrow. And to be honest, if it had taken a few more days, it's not such a big deal. I have a COVID mask. Said to myself, if I needed one more implant someday, and I had the money, if I had the money and everything, on the bottom teeth, just one, I probably wouldn't mind. And maybe just a straightforward one on the top. But it's not a process I would be in any way unstressed about, because it was nothing like Sapor. Sapor, God bless him, seemed to be a very gentle dentist. Because I remember he took out, I think he took out a wisdom tooth as well. And I remember him saying, I'm going to cut it up to make it easier. And he did everything without me feeling a thing. And the same with the implant he did, but it was on the bottom, and there was no tooth there or anything, so it was a lot easier. He didn't have to take anything out. But God, if I remember correctly, he just did it all, and there was just a strong vibration of the drilling, but there was absolutely no discomfort. So that's that. I am now, after that, Mark, the other thing, of course, I was reading to eat various things, soft things, and secondly, no alcohol or beer because it's bad for you. Apparently it slows down the whole healing process, adds bacteria to the thing, does something to the blood. I don't know if it's all a bit hysterical about that, but I've decided to try and give it a rest for all the stuff for the beer for a week. I think after a week everything should have some reasonably healed up, I hope. I hope there's no complications. But yeah, a bit of a disappointment. I was looking forward to celebrating, like now. But it does take a huge obstacle out of the path. And Merites, okay, no IRM scan until April because I can't have it with the implant until it kind of settles. What else? Yeah, the scan, blood test maybe. And then we get back to job hunting and the very bipolar living arrangements with Flo. Ali. Some days it all seems to be as if everything's fine and we're happy together and Flo's not pushy. And as I'm looking, she's kind of okay, kind of doesn't think I'm doing enough. And then there are other days when she just says things to make me feel really insecure about moving out, going to Ireland, or we have no money, you need to get a job. I've paid all of this implant with my savings, so she can't pull me up on this at all. I made a very conscious. She was saying, "Oh, you can do half and half," or from her, and I said no. I will do every penny from me, so that in a week's time or a month's time or whatever, you won't be having that argument, and she'll be saying, and then you're not working and you have to pay all this money for your teeth. Because I can see that coming. Stop, Tuco. Stop. Ali. Anyway, that's the story of that. Today is Wednesday. I have to go back tomorrow to get the temporary teeth. I've got some things to check. Prolific site where I have to join with my ID, and they can maybe get me work online doing I don't know what. I'm super skeptical of these things. I have a feeling it's a site that needs you to have lots of categories, and you need to be kind of knowledgeable in the categories, be it health or education. And unfortunately, I'm not knowledgeable in any of those categories, but we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, I'm going to check the mail now because I have a book order which I've been waiting for a month. And I will say adios, and I will say congratulations to myself for going through this ordeal. It'll be worth it. We all hope it'll be all worth it in the long run. Let's go. Goodbye.